Good morning, everyone. So today we'll be discussing about respiratory system. So this will be the last topic for your semifinals period. So let's proceed. So first, let's define what is respiration. So respiration, so in our body, we utilize oxygen to produce carbon dioxide in carrying out metabolic processes. So there are two types of respiration. We have internal and external. Pag sinabing internal sa loob, so it occurs in all tissues of the body, while the external sa labas, it occurs only in the lungs, specifically in the alveoli. So what are the component organs in the respiratory system? We have the major organ, which is the lungs, and the conducting portion. What are those conducting portions? They are the structures that conduct air to and from the lungs. So we have the nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, and main bronchi. So the conducting portions of the respiratory system, it conveys air to and from the respiratory portion. It does not only transport, but it also filters, moisten, and warm the inspired air before it reaches the respiratory system. So first we have the nose. So ano yung nose? It is a hollow organ whose cavity is divided into two irregularly shaped spaces. So it is bounded anteriorly by an orifice called anterior nares or nostril and posteriorly by posterior nares. So the nasal septum form the medial wall while the lateral is occupied by three shelf-like structures, also known as the nasal turbinates. We have the superior, middle, and inferior. So that's the picture structure of the nose. So the framework of the walls of the nose, it's partly bone and partly cartilage. The external part of the nose is covered by skin, while the inner portion or the inner lining is composed of mucous membranes. So what is a mucosa? It refers to the moist lining that lines the luminal surface. Saan siya common? We have the respiratory, digestive, and genitourinary tracts. So it consists of epithelium and underlying loose connective tissue called lamina propria. So under the nose pa din, vestibule. Ano yung vestibule? Vestibule is a space or cavity it lined by skin provided with coarse and stiff air that acts as a gross filter for inhaled air. Yung nasal mucosa naman, yung mucosa nga, it lined the respiratory epithelium. Anong type ng tissue? We have the ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium with goblet cells. And the lamina propria contains mucous and serous glands which keeps the epithelium moist, as well as mast cells and malt. Ano yung malt? It is the mucus-associated lymphoid tissues. So anong mahalaga dyan? Yung inhaled air para maging warm. So, yung respiratory epithelium, may 6 cell types doon. Ano yung pinaka-abundant? We have the ciliated columnar cells, sunod goblet cells. Bakit nga siya tinawag na goblet cells? Kasi kamukha siya ng goblet. Yung goblet para siyang cup. Kung nanonood kayo ng Harry Potter, di ba meron doon yung goblet of fire? So, yung para siyang cup na inuman. We have brush cells with numerous microvilli, serous cells, basal cells, and granule cells. So yung granule cells, also known as Kulczycki cell. Bakit tinawag na Kulczycki? Kasi siya yung nakadiscover nung cell na yon. This is the picture. So ito yung brush cells, serous cells, goblet cells. Kita mo yung goblet, para siyang inuman cup. Yan. Pictures lang yan. So, olfactory epithelium naman, it is found at the roof of the nasal cavity. It contains receptors for the sense of smell. Tapos, it is composed of tall, pseudostratified columnar epithelium. Ito yun, no? Ito yung mga tall, pseudostratified epithelium. So, under sa olfactory epithelium, meron siyang, syempre, olfactory cells. They are spindle-shaped bipolar neurons. Kung nakita nyo dun sa previous, spindle, ibig sabihin, para siyang fusiform, patusok yung mga dulo. We also have sustentacular cells or supporting cells. They are columnar cells that are slender in their apices and narrow at their bases. Basal cells, they are short basophilic pyramid-shaped rounded cell whose apical aspects do not reach the epithelial surface. So as you can see, ito yung mga mismong olfactory cells. Itong mahabang to. Tapos yung mga supporting cells, yun lang yung mga nakapalibot sa kanya. Ito. Supporting cells yan. Tapos yung basal cells nga, sabi, hindi na siya nakakarating dun sa pinakataas. So, tandaan nyo lang, basal base. Yun lang ulit yun. So, paranasal sinuses. Ano yung sinuses? Sinuses are hollow cavities in the skull. So, there are 4 paranasal sinuses. We have frontal, maxillary, ethmoidal, and sphenoidal. So, they make the face less heavy by reducing its bony mass and also serve as resonating chambers for speech. So, as you can see, we have the frontal. Ito. Di ba sila yung parang hollow cavity nga? So, yan yung napupuno ng sipon. Kaya di ba yung parang nagre-resonate daw ng sound for the voice? Parang minsan, parang kakaiba yung boses mo kasi puno ng sipon yung mga sinus na yan. We have the sphenoid, ethmoid, and maxillary. So next we have the pharynx. Yung pharynx is a funnel-shaped fibromuscular tube. So it contains 3 regions. We have the superior nasopharynx, middle oral pharynx or oropharynx, and inferior laryngeal pharynx or laryngopharynx. So what are the histologic layers of the pharynx? So class, kung mapapansin nyo, parang kada part sinasabi yung histologic layers. So dito sa pharynx, it consists of 4 layers. We have the mucosa, the submucosa, the muscularis externa, and the adventitia. So class, ito yung sinasabi kanina. We have the nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. Ba't ito tinawag na oral? Kasi mas malapit na siya sa bibig. Laryngo naman kasi yan na yung malapit sa may larynx. So as you can see here, yung oropharynx daw at laryngopharynx, ano ang tissues na involved? We have the non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Pwede din ng ciliated stratified columnar. Pero for nasopharynx, Siya ay yung mga respiratory epithelium. So let's proceed na sa larynx. Larynx, common siya to be called as voice box. So the larynx is situated between the pharynx and the trachea. It is responsible for the phonation and prevents the entry of solid or liquid into the respiratory system during swallowing. So ano yung phonation? It is the process by which the vocal folds produce certain sounds. So nagsasara siya once nakain tayo. So meron 3 unpaired at 3 paired cartilages found at sa larynx. Ano yung 3 paired? Yung 3 paired we have the thyroid, cricoid, and epiglottic. Ang 3 unpaired yon. Ang 3 paired naman, we have corniculate, cuneiform, and arytenoid. Yung arytenoid, thyroid, and cricoid, they are made up of hyaline cartilages. While the epiglottic, corniculate, and cuneiform, they are made up of elastic cartilages. So the internal surface of the larynx is lined by mucous membranes. Tapos, the direction of the ciliary movement of the ciliated cells is toward the pharynx. Yan yung larynx. That's a picture of larynx. So as you can see, nandito yung thyroid cartilage, cricoid, the tracheal cartilage, the epiglottis or the epiglottic. Next, we have the trachea. Trachea is a tube and it consists of 4 histologic layers. We have the mucosa, submucosa, cartilage, and muscle cell layer, and adventitia. So dun sa cartilage and muscle cell layer, it is composed of 16 to 20 C-shaped hyaline cartilages that keep the lumen permanently open. So ito yung trachea, yan yung horseshoe or C-shape. So yan daw ay 16 to 20. Tapos, we'll further discuss. So kung mapapansin nyo, pababa tayo ng pababa. So from the nose, pababa papunta sa lungs. We have the bronchi. So we have the primary bronchi. Ang tawag also known as extrapulmonary. They are smaller in diameter and their walls are thinner and located outside the lungs. So they supply the left and right lung respectively. Yung bronchial tree or the intrapulmonary refers to more than 20 generations of branches of the main bronchi. So nandito yung secondary bronchi and the tertiary bronchi. So we also have the bronchioles. We have terminal and respiratory bronchioles. So yung bronchioles, anong diameter niya? Less than 1 millimeter. So in the epithelium of the smaller bronchioles, there is a population of cuboidal, non-ciliated cells. Other term for that is clara cells. So we have the terminal bronchioles. The terminal bronchioles arise from bronchioles. So ano ang cells na nandun? We have simple cuboidal or tissues rather. Tapos sa respiratory naman, they arise from the terminal bronchioles. So simple cuboidal din, but become simple squamous distally. Tapos, similarly in structure to terminal bronchioles, except that their wall is interrupted by presence of thin-walled pouch-like structure known as the alveoli. So, dun sa alveoli, it is where the gas exchange occur. Alveolar ducts branch off from respiratory bronchioles, gives off alveoli and alveolar sacs. Yung alveolar sacs and alveoli naman, they arise individually or pwede ding clusters. So, thin-walled polyhedral sacs that are about 200 to 250 microns in diameter. So, there is an estimated 300 million alveoli in both lungs. Tapos, closely packed and adjacent alveolar share a common wall called the Interalveolar Septum that is perforated by round oval holes. Ito yun, no? Yung mga alveolar sac. Yan yung mga pouch-like. Tapos, it is where the exchange of gases occurs. Tingnan nito yung mga red, siya yung mga arteries, yung blue, siya yung veins. Tapos yung violet, yun yung mga capillary network where gas exchange occurs. So let's proceed to interalveolar septum. It is a very thin structure with three components. Ano yung three components? We have connective tissue, the epithelium, and the capillaries. So the epithelial cells of the interalveolar septum, we have type 1 alveolar cells. Other term is pulmonary epithelial cell or yung monocyte type 1. Ang type 2 alveolar cells naman, anong other term? We have the great alveolar cell or the pneumonocyte type 2. They are more numerous and much larger than type 1 alveolar cells. Pulmonary alveolar macrophage, most numerous cells in the alveoli, but not part of the interalveolar septum. So, differentiate from monocyte. So, ano daw yung dust cells? Dust cells are pulmonary alveolar cells with dust particles in the cytoplasm. Blood-air barrier. Kung sa brain merong blood-brain barrier, sa lungs din or sa respiratory system meron ding blood-air barrier. So yung blood-air barrier is the ultra-thin structure that separates blood in a pulmonary capillary from the air in the alveoli. So it consists of pneumonocyte type 1, basal lamina of the alveolar epithelium, basal lamina of the capillary endothelium, and capillary endothelial cell. So let's proceed na sa pinaka main organ. Sa respiratory system, we have the lungs. Pair siya, we have the left and right. So saan daw mas malaki? Kung alin daw yung mas malaking lung? Right, bakit? Kasi nasa medyo pa-left na din yung heart natin. So na-occupy nung heart yung space, kaya mas malaki daw yung right. It is separated from each other by the heart and other structures in the mediastinum. So yan yung lungs. So it is divided into fissures. By fissures into lobes. So left lung is divided into 2 lobes and the right lung is divided into 3 lobes. Each lung has a medial indentation, the hilus, which contains root of the lung. Yan, explain ko nun kanina. Ito yung mga alveolar sac. So the thoracic cavity is lined by serous membranes called PLEURA. So as lung develops, it pushes against serous membranes. So in this fashion, a portion of the pleura, visceral, it covers and adheres to the lungs, and the remainder of the pleura, the parietal naman, lines and adheres the walls of the thoracic cavity. Ito yung pleura. We have the visceral and the parietal. Nasa loob, inner yung visceral, outer naman yung parietal. So pleura is the space between the visceral and the parietal pleura is known as the pleural cavity. So this space contains a slight amount of serous fluid which permits a nearly fractionless movement of the lungs during ventilation. So sabi nga pagdating nyo ng third year, pag-aaralan nyo din yung mga other types of body fluids, hindi lang basta urine. So meron mga pericardial, peritoneal, synovial. So isa din dyan is yung serous fluid. So ano yung inhalation? It is an energy requiring process because it involves contraction of the diaphragm. Anong mahalaga dyan? Pag inhalation, nagko-contract yung diaphragm. Pag naman exhalation, the respiratory accessory muscles relax. Nagre-relax. Decrease in the volume of the pleural cavities with a consequent increase in the pressure at the pleural cavities. So normal expiration does not require energy. So pulmonary nerve supply. So we have the sympathetic fibers. It causes relaxation of the bronchial smooth muscles, thus bronchodilation occurs. So habang nangyayari yung bronchodilation, nagko-constrict naman yung pulmonary blood vessels. For parasympathetic naman, it elicits contraction of the bronchial smooth muscles causing bronchoconstriction. So that's end the respiratory system topic. So hope you understand the topic. Thank you and God bless.